Okay. Welcome all to the lecture of functional analysis. I hope my voice is very clear and screen is also visible. In the last lecture, we have studied some important theorems which are dependent on Hilbert spaces, right? Can anyone just recall what the theorems we have taken? Some relations between a set and its orthogonal complement we have seen. Okay, what is orthogonal complement? Along with the examples we have seen, we'll just have a look. Okay, what is orthogonal complement? Orthogonal complement is the collection of all vectors. Orthogonal complement of any subset of a Hilbert space H is the collection of all the elements in the Hilbert space H which are orthogonal to X. Correct? Which are orthogonal to Y for all Y in S. Right? And we are going to call it as S perpendicular or S perp. Collection of all such vectors in the Hilbert space which are perpendicular to all vectors in S is orthogonal complement. We have seen with the help of an examples also that how orthogonal complement could be found. Okay, two examples we have seen in detail, right? Then later we have seen some consequences. In first consequence we have seen that singleton 0 perpendicular is the whole Hilbert space. That is, all the vectors in the Hilbert space are perpendicular to 0 vector. Next we have seen H perp is equal to singleton 0. The meaning is singleton 0, that is 0 is the only vector which is perpendicular to all the elements or all the vectors in the Hilbert space H. Third, we have seen that S intersection S perp, the set and its orthogonal complement is contained in 0 for any subset, but if we assume S to be a subspace of a Hilbert space H, then this S intersection S perp is equal to singleton 0, right? When this is true, this may be a question for your objective. This may be a question for your objective. What is the question for the objective? That S, if S is a subset of a Hilbert space H, and S perp be its orthogonal complement, then S intersection S perp is equal to what? Okay. Therefore, we have to read the statement very carefully. This S intersection S perp is equal to singleton 0 if S is a subspace, otherwise not. Then S1 and S2 are any two non-empty subsets of the Hilbert space H, and S1 is contained in S2, then S1 perp is S2 perp is contained in S1 perp. Next we have seen is if S double perp is orthogonal complement of S perp, then S is contained in S double perp. Instead of proving this could be a simple but obvious statement, right? Now in S perp we are collecting all the elements which are orthogonal to S. In S double perp we are collecting all the elements which are orthogonal to the elements of S perp. Then surely the elements of S are perpendicular to the element of S perp. Therefore, S is contained in S double perp. Quite but obvious statement which we have proved, no doubt. Sixth one, we have proved that if M and N are the subspaces of the Hilbert space H, M orthogonal to N, then M intersection N is singleton 0. If two subspaces are orthogonal, singleton 0 is the only vector which will be common, right? Later we have seen an important theorem that if S be any non-empty subset of Hilbert space H, then S perp is closed linear subspace of H. Orthogonal complement is always a closed linear subspace of a Hilbert space H, and hence we have proved that it is a Hilbert space. Okay, in the remark also we have discussed now, if S is a subspace, then S intersection S perp is equal to singleton 0, because here we have proved that S perp is always a linear subspace, though S is subspace or not. Okay, this we have proved in the last lecture, right? Now in today's lecture we will go for the next theorem. In this next theorem, we are going to discuss some important properties of the Hilbert spaces. I don't know what is happening. Pages are misplacing. Okay, just give a minute, I'll just change this. There are technical issues always. Yeah, now it's clear. Is the screen visible clearly?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now we'll go to the theorem. The theorem today we are going to discuss is, let me write the statement first. Let M be a closed linear subspace, closed linear subspace of a Hilbert space H. X be any vector, X be any vector not in M, and D, distance D is defined to be a distance between a vector X and M. Then prove that. What to prove? Then prove that there exists a unique vector, y naught in M such that, what such that? Norm of x minus y naught is equal to D. Okay, let us try to understand the statement. What is given? M be a closed linear subspace. I'll just draw this for the sake of your understanding. Let us assume this be a Hilbert space H. Then it is given that M be a closed linear subspace of H. Therefore, here is the position, say. Then X be a vector not in M. Not in M means X is a vector outside M. D is defined to be a distance between the vector and the set. Okay, previously also in one of the theorem we have seen that the distance between a vector and a set is defined to be inferior distance between the elements of M and X. Okay, now in this theorem our aim is to prove that there exists a unique vector y naught in M such that norm of x minus y naught is equal to D. If time being, if we assume this norm is given by the shortest distance, a straight line distance, okay, then what are the possibilities to find out the distance between the x and the elements of M? These are the elements of M, right? And suppose we are finding the distance by straight line, joining the 2 points with a straight distance. Okay, so therefore these are the positions, right? These are the distances. Oh, sorry. Correct now? In this way, we are going to join this vector x with all possible vectors of the set M, and whichever is giving us the inferior distance will be taken to be the distance between x and M. And now in this theorem, our aim is to prove that this distance is for this distance there exists a unique vector y0 in M. Somewhere here I will just locate the position y0 in M such that norm of x minus y0 is equal to d. This be d, that is this be the smallest distance between all with all possible distances. Okay, now if we just look at the sketch, you may understand that by joining the vector x with all possible vectors in M, someone will give a distance surely infimum, right? Now norm of x minus y0, but how one can give the guarantee of the existence of the unique vector? See, we are emphasizing on the uniqueness of that vector. There is only one vector, I am saying. There could not be possible that some other vector is also there with the same distance, with the same norm value. Okay, therefore here this theorem gives us the exact proof that there exists a unique vector y0 in M, where the distance between the vector x and the set M is given by the vector y0 in M. Right? Am I clear up to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Now coming to the proof of this statement. Okay, therefore we will start with the definition first. From the definition, what is the definition? D is a distance between a vector x and the set M, which we know that this is inferior norm x minus z on the condition z belongs to M. On the condition z belongs to M. Therefore, what we can write from this? Hence. Okay. Hence, we can write there could be some elements in M which forms a sequence where the distance norm value of the x and that vector is tending to d. We can form the sequence. Here we are not giving a guarantee of existence of such a d. Okay. By here just we are forming a sequence. Correct now? Okay. At these boundary points, see here I am showing you. There may be some boundary points. Okay. Why I am saying boundary? Because the distance I have taken to be shortest distance for the sake of convenience. Therefore, these are the some points on the boundary which may form a sequence. What kind of sequence it may form? Hence, there exists a sequence yn in M. What kind of sequence it is? Such that norm of x minus yn is tending to d as n tends to infinity. Correct now? I think whether everyone got this point? इथे जे बाउंड्री पॉइंट्स असणार आहेत, ह्या बाउंड्री पॉइंटची एक सिक्वेन्स तयार होईल. काय सिक्वेन्स तयार होईल? या बाउंड्री पॉइंटमधला आणि या वेक्टरमधला डिस्टन्स जो आहे तो टेंड्स टू डी असेल ना. डी एक्झॅक्टली डी वी कॅनॉट से, बट इट इज टेंडिंग टुवर्ड्स डी. करेक्ट ना? Therefore, there exists a sequence we have written. Okay, but what is given to us? M is the linear subspace. Okay, here I'll write just since M is linear subspace of H, therefore Yn Ym belongs to M implies half times Yn plus Ym also belongs to M. Correct now? And by definition of D, okay, by definition of D, where is this location? Half Yn and Ym. If suppose Ym and Yn are these positions, half times Ym minus Yn will be somewhere around it only, na, in the set itself, right? Therefore, this point is in the set M. And what about the distance between x and this point? Okay, suppose here is the position of this point. I'll just change the color. Here is the position, half times xm minus half xm half ym plus ym. And what is the position? What is the distance between this point and your x? Is it d? No, it is greater equal by d. We are not sure yet that this is giving us the inferior distance among all possible. Therefore, what we can predict? We can predict the distance between, thus distance between this point and a vector x is, this implies x minus half times yn plus ym. This distance must be greater equal by d. Why equality is possible? Because if this vector is giving us that vector which gives us the inferior distance, then the distance will be exactly d. If not, then it is greater than d. Therefore, combining both the possibilities, we have written greater equal by d. Correct? Next, this is 2x. Just let us cross multiply 2x yn plus ym greater equal by 2d. Right? Next, I'll just write. Actually, our aim is to form a Cauchy sequence. Let me call this as statement number 1. Okay. Now here we got two vectors in the Hilbert space H using the parallelogram law for these two vectors. Okay. I'll just tell you a theme. We are going to form one Cauchy sequence of yn. We will prove that this is Cauchy, then it will be convergent, and at convergent point we will find, and whatever is the converging point of that sequence yn will be our unique vector. That is what the aim is. Okay. Now here I'll just write using parallelogram law for the vectors. For the vectors x minus ym and x minus yn. Okay, let me write. What is the parallelogram law? Norm square x plus y plus norm square x minus y is equal to 2 norm square x, 2 norm square y, right? I'll just write. This is norm square of the addition of vectors added with norm square subtraction of the vectors, right now? Which is equal to 2 times a vector, norm square of a vector added with 2 times second vector. Okay. Now what we are going to do? We will shift this term on the right. We will write it as this as it is. Okay, shifting this, writing first right hand side quantities as it is. 2 norm square x minus yn. This we are shifting to the right with a negative symbol, of course. This is x plus ym plus x min. Sorry, here it is minus, no? Okay. Next, now what is the value on the left hand side? Plus x minus x will get cancelled, and here it is yn minus ym. Okay, quantities on the right, just check out. Okay, this, there is no change in the first and second one, but what can you write for the for this third one? For the third, let us just look at this equation number 1. Equation number 1 is norm of x minus ym plus x minus yn greater equal by 2d. Here is the same quantity with a negative sign, and whenever we have a negative symbol, inequality reverses. Therefore, this greater equal becomes less equal. The first two terms will write as it is. this will be 2d square na. 2d bracket square means it is 4d square. Okay, I'll just call it as, page is scrolling. Okay, I'll just call it as equation number 2. Okay, now what's another fact known to us? Norm of x minus yn tends to d. Therefore, this term tends to d square. This term tends to d square. This is 2 into d square added with 2 into d square minus 4 into d square. What happens then? Here I'll just write, since norm of x minus yn tends to d and norm of x minus ym also tends to d. Okay, therefore what the above equation becomes? Above equation becomes, what this above equation becomes then? Left hand side is norm square yn minus ym square less than or equals to 2d square added with 2d square minus 4d square. Therefore, may I say this is going to tends to 0. This will tend to 0 right now. This is going to tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. Therefore, what we have proved? Norm square yn minus ym tends to 0 as mn tends to infinity. Therefore, it will give us the value, this conclusion, that the sequence yn is a Cauchy sequence. Cauchy sequence in which set? Cauchy sequence in the set M. But what is the set M given to be? Is a closed linear subspace. Therefore, this must be complete. If it is complete, sequence yn convergent. Right now, therefore here I'll write, since M is closed linear subspace of H, this implies M is complete. M is complete. Hence, one can write sequence yn is a convergent sequence. Right? That is sequence yn. I'll just write the limit point to be some y0. Sequence yn converges to y0 as n tends to infinity in the set M. In the set M. Okay. But what is the fact known to us? The fact is known to us that the sequence, the norm, is a continuous function. Let us just use this point, since norm is a continuous function. What can I write? Norm of x minus y0. I'll just want to prove it as equal to d, na? Therefore, I will write this y0 as limit n tends to infinity yn, which we can write as norm limit x minus yn, no doubt n is tending to infinity, which one can write limit norm x minus yn n tends to infinity, which is equal to d, no doubt. Okay, see, one may have a question, how norm is continuous is used. Yn tends to y0 is the fact we know. Therefore, x minus yn is tending to x minus y0. Norm is continuous function gives us norm of x minus yn tends to norm of x minus y0. Here is the fact we have used. Therefore, we have proved that norm of x minus y0 is equal to d. Now, what the point remains to prove? That the point is unique. Okay, therefore I'll just write thus the vector y naught in M exists such that, what such that? Norm of x minus y naught is equal to d. Now let us go towards the uniqueness. How we are proving uniqueness generally? Can anyone answer? Yes?
We consider 2 points to be equal.
Right, by considering 2 points. Okay, here also we will use the same technique. Okay, aim is to prove y naught is unique. Aim is to prove y naught is unique. Therefore I will assume, let z naught be another vector with the same property, right now? Be another vector such that, what such that? Norm of x minus z naught is equal to d. Okay, then what we should show? We shall prove that y naught is equal to z naught. Y naught is equal to z naught. Okay, now again we will use the same trick as we have used in the first part of the proof, as since M is a subspace which gives for these two vectors half times y naught plus z naught is in M again. Right now, why? Because y naught and z naught are both are the vectors in N, and to prove the uniqueness, the same trick we will use, the parallelogram law. Okay, let us start. By definition of D, what is the definition of D? Norm of x minus half times y naught plus z naught is greater equal by d. If this is the vector which gives the inferior distance, then norm of x minus the vector is exactly equal to d. If not, it is greater than d. Correct now? Automatically the page is coming at the end. Now, oh no, norm of, we will use the same strategy as we have used. I don't know why the page is coming at the end directly. Just give me a minute, okay? Page is coming down. This is 2x minus y naught plus z naught is greater equal by 2d, which we can write as x minus y naught plus x minus z naught greater equal by 2d. Now again we will use the parallelogram law for these two vectors. To D. Okay, now we will use parallelogram law. Using parallelogram law for the vectors x minus y naught and x minus z naught. What's the parallelogram law? Num square x plus y plus num square x minus y is 2 times num square x plus num square y, right? Today I'll complete this theorem only. I don't know, there is a what's the problem today. This page is not allowing me to write. It's automatically scrolling at the end. Okay, wherever it is, I'll just write. Using the parallelogram law, this is norm of x minus y naught plus x minus z naught square added with norm square x minus y naught minus x minus z naught equal to 2 times norm of x minus y naught square plus 2 times norm of x minus z naught square. Okay, if it again shifting this term on the right as we have done previously, I'll just write shortcut now. Right hand side quantity is as it is. Shift subtracted with this term. Okay, now if you just observe, this plus x minus x will cancel and we will have the value norm square of y naught minus z naught, and as per the previous discussion, the sequence the value now x minus y naught is d, this value is also d, and this value we have discussed is greater equal by 2d. Now as it is on the left hand side, we can write this is equal to 2d square and minus 4d square. Okay, instead of tends to, it's better to write it is less equal. This is less equal 2d square, this value is d na, plus 2d square, and this value is less or equal by minus 4d square, which in all comes to be 0. Therefore we have proved norm square y naught minus z, actually it is less than or equals to 0, but we know that norm is always non-negative, which is greater equal by 0. Therefore we can write combined it is equal to 0, which ultimately gives us y naught is equal to z naught. If y naught is equals to z naught, it means that the vector is unique, whichever is the vector existing giving us the distance between the set and the element and the set is always a unique vector, is always a unique vector. Any doubt with today's lecture? Yes, if you have any doubt you can ask.